I mean, they could win the next two games. The next two games are winnable, and then, the 3-3, exactly where I said they would.
Welcome back to the Disappointed Bull and Depressed Calf Boston Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Matt, and I'm here with my dad, Steve, and we're going to mix it up today, including some of your answers to some questions as relates to the Patriots, which have just given us nothing but profound sadness. And we're going to touch on those points. My dad has the 5 segments we're going to hit on. Dad, what are we going to do today?
As if you and I don't have an easy enough time looking like boobs. Leave it to the Patriots to just help us out with that even more. I still hold the team near and dear to my heart. That's why I have them right here, close by to me, so I can continue to love them. Absolute trash. It's garbage.
It's nice you have a picture of the offensive line.
Yeah. So quick reminder before I go off with the 5 things. If I did this when I was selling books, right? And I would post live videos of me doing drawings, $50 gift cards. If you watch our video, just share it on Facebook. You don't have to write anything, just share it. If I get 25 shares in the next podcast, I will draw a name, and your name will be in that drawing if you share it. So get us 25 shares, someone will win a $50 gift card. Simple as that. But anyway, number 1 on it, Matt and myself, what we're going to do is, if we were to step into the football operations role of the Patriots right now, what would we do for the rest of the year? Who our coach would be? Would we keep Belichick? Would we fire him? Changes we would make with the team if we had that control as well. Maybe a player in, player out. And we're going to give you what we would do for this team. And number 2, this is going to be good. So it's going to piss off a lot of old Celtics fans, piss off a lot of young Celtics fans probably. We're going to take the top 6 teams from the 1986, top 6 players from the 1986 team, which is commonly known as possibly the greatest NBA team of all time. The 2008 team, where Kevin Garnett led the way to a championship, and this current team. So the top 6 players from each of those teams, Matt and I are going to draft them in the order we would take them. Very simple. If, let's say, Tatum was your first pick, that team, 2023, would get 18 points. Whoever the second player is, that team would get 17 points. Whoever the third player is, that year team would get 16. We go all the way down the ladder, and we tallied up the totals, and we come away with who is the most talented team. We base that on defense, scoring, passing, rebounds, all that good stuff. So check out what our results are for those 3 impressive teams from the Celtics. Number 3, we're going to give our outlooks on the Bruins. I'm generally down on them. I like what I saw last night, but I still have my thoughts on where they're going to be, and we're going to touch on that. And number 4, spoiler alert, right here. Our betting expert Anthony went 3-0 last week. I don't care. I'm telling you right now. So hopefully you at least tune into that once you heard me say that. And 5 out of 6 he's won. So Anthony's on fire. I think he's getting a little ambitious this week. I think Matt said he's going to pick like 4 games or something crazy like that. So he's up in the ante, no pun intended. And then, of course, we have the 90-50-10, what we feel is going to be a 90% chance, a 50% chance, a 10% chance of what is going to happen in this upcoming Patriots game. But next week, we're going to do 90-50-10 for what we feel the Celtics are going to do this coming season. And we really want you to put your 90-50-10 in the comments of the YouTube or the comments of the Facebook. And we will include that in the next podcast. What do you think is going to go down for the Celtics this year? 90% chance happening, 50% chance, and 10% chance. So here we go. Start us off, Matt.
All right. So number 1, and my dad touched on what this topic is, but I'll say it again. We're going to go over what we feel we would do if we were made president of football operations for the New England Patriots. Before we get there, I do want to share the voice of the people. I've asked some of my dad's friends this, some of my friends this, my colleagues this, family. And the question I asked was, what record would the Patriots need to finish the season with for you to say enough is enough? We need to fire Belichick. And I'm just going to go through some names. I'll try and put up a little graphic as well with the names and what they've said. So really quick, these are the people who are undecided for the most part. My buddy Cleon, who I work with, he said anything less than 5 wins means that Bill Belichick should lose his GM control powers. I have my other buddy Lester, who said that anything less than 500 means that Bill Belichick should be replaced. And I have my old friend Brian Foley, who I play basketball with. He said that 2-15 means Belichick has to go, and he believes that if both those wins will come against the Jets. So he's actually predicting, I think, 2-15. So that's Brian Foley.
Setting a low bar. Oh
Yeah,
my God.
yeah. My friend Tim Hilliard, he said that no record matters, whether we win out or not. Belichick should lose his GM role. He still wants Belichick as the coach, but he'd like Belichick to lose the GM role. My dad's buddy Rob Breton from the jail, says that he was set on in this last year. The game has changed. He wants a younger and more offensive-minded head coach. My buddy Andrew Bailey said that we could win every game and we should still fire Bill. No matter what, we could win the Super Bowl, still fire Bill. My uncle Damon Viner, same thing. We could win every game, and he wants Bill fired. My colleague at work, my buddy Tom, he said no record matters. We should fire Bill today. And then we have two truthers drinking the Kool-Aid, and that's Richard Worley, my dad and I's good friend, my dad's lifelong friend, and he said there's no way, no how we should get rid of Bill Belichick. That's Richard. If you have any problems with that take, you can go see him at the Ecotarium. And then my buddy Tyler, Willette, and honestly, that take should go into the Ecotarium because it's basically should be in a museum. That take is horrible.
It is a dinosaur.
Yeah. And then
last time I heard that, I fell off my dinosaur.
That's so funny. Last time I heard that, I laughed so hard I fell off my dinosaur.
Stop right now, all right? Let's just back off.
Oh my God.
And then my buddy Tyler, he says, I don't want to replace Belichick. Kraft doesn't replace Belichick. Only Belichick replaces Belichick. But he did say a 1-16 record is enough to get rid of Belichick. So in light of this, the whole spirit of this segment, I think you can get what my dad and I's thoughts are. One more thing. Our bet expert does not stop at bets. He has a hot take for us as it relates to our first topic here. He sent a video of himself and the true mastermind behind all of his bets, my nephew Tegan. So we're going to jump to that real quick and hear what they have to say about whether Belichick should stay or should go.
I don't think so.
So I can't imagine the Pats getting more than 5 wins at this point. Offensive line, terrible. I think it's bigger than Bill Belichick at this point. I'd rather see him go because I don't want to see his legacy ruined with how poorly these next few years are going to be for him. So I think we got a clean house, start over with Kraft, just rebuilding everything, and I don't want to see Bill's name tarnished with these bad losses. What do you think, Teagues? Good, yeah, not good. It's been bad.
Yep, and I think our bet expert and my nephew Tegan hit the nail on the head there. It is let's save face here, Belichick. Let's lay it to rest. Go to the home, play some bingo. You count your rings. Find a new girlfriend. But save your legacy, Bill.
When to say when.
Yes, yeah. Given that world that we're in, that Bill Belichick at the end of the season, mid-season, whatever, we have an interim coach, moves on, and he gets fired, what would we do? So I'll lead us off, and specifically, and I think I'm going to differ from my dad a lot on this, but what I think we should do, if I'm the president of football operations, first thing I would do is just clear house. Number one, I would limp along if it happened mid-season till the end of the season, and then in the off-season, I would just start completely fresh, top down, get rid of everybody in the Belichick tree. I think the Belichick tree overall is a large failure. A lot of the coaches that have come from him have been duds. A lot of the coaches that have moved away from us have been duds. I don't want any Belichick disciples in our organization. That means, and that doesn't mean Mayo. Maybe Mayo can stay around in a defensive capacity. He's not technically that way. But the first thing I would do is I would look around the league at the most promising offensive coordinator who's doing the most with very little, and I would get him to be our coach. You see it right now in the Colts. The Colts hired Shane Steichen. He was the offensive coordinator for the Eagles for the past few years, and he's moved to the Colts, and it doesn't matter who's at quarterback for him. Richardson, Minshew, they're moving the ball. They have nobody's at wide receiver, and they are making it. And the Eagles offense, if you watch the Eagles offense in the first game of the season as the Patriots, if you watch some other games, it doesn't look like the same Eagles offense. He made a difference. He was a big part of that. Where I would go, because he's already a head coach, I would go to Detroit. There's a guy named Ben Johnson. He's a young offensive coordinator. He's making Jared Goff look good with very little weapons on a pretty bad team. I would consider maybe hiring him as the head coach and seeing where that goes. Also, at the end of the season, you might see some people open up, right? You might see a full season of a team and have a better candidate. But I would go for a young offensive-minded head coach, and I would hope that we lose every single game this season and we could invest in a new quarterback, because I think the only way we're winning anything in the next 5 years is with a serviceable quarterback on a rookie contract. I don't see us winning anything on a Mac Jones second contract, making $20+ million a year. So that's what my approach would be. Of course, there's a lot of layers to rebuilding a franchise, but I think quick hits, that's what I got. What do you got? Oh, wait. And by the way, for my record, I think Belichick should just go. I'm in the camp that he's old. He's past his prime. The game's changing. He's not the coach for us. So I would really fit in there with my Uncle Damon, my buddy Andrew, and Tom. Dad, what about you? First, answer the question, I think, what record, and then rebuild the franchise for us, please.
I want to make something clear first. I made a post on Facebook about Belichick, basically disrespecting him, and I got some pushback on it. I get it. Listen, I love him for what he did too. I recognize he was a huge part of that. Yep. I just want to know, at what point am I allowed to get pissed? I mean, it's been 5 years. He slowly dragged his team down. And we give him 10 more years. Am I allowed to start getting angry and calling him out at 10 more years of like being terrible? I just want to know at what point. I mean, I get it. I loved it. There was at one time I'm like, greatest, laughed at his antics and absolutely loved him. But now it's a different story. It's been 5 years and the team is spiraling every year. So no longer feel bad anymore. First thing I would do, I would not let him go for the rest of the season. I would fire him immediately, okay? Because he does still have some good coaching, in him. So that right there alone helps us tank out, lose as many games as possible. I'm not playing Mac Jones the rest of the year. He's broken. I was going to put together a video of what Mac Jones would do when he had a clean pocket with some time, and all the videos of him just having a guy in his face like that and show people that it wasn't Mac, but it's took too long. It doesn't matter. The video does not matter anymore because Mac Jones he's damaged goods. He's completely broken. It's clear after that last game. So there's no point in even putting that together. So what I would do also is I wouldn't play him anymore. I wouldn't play Zappy. I'd give the Malik kid a try. Okay. He showed some promise in the preseason. Another way to guarantee we lose just about every game. Okay. Get the highest possible draft pick. All right. See if we have anything in that kid. I don't know. He's super athletic. Could he be a poor man's Lamar Jackson? Who knows? And I'd make some other changes. Mapu, get him in there, playing full time. Get Tavai out of there. I want to see that kid at middle linebacker. I know he's light, but whatever. I want to see him flying around with Bentley, flying around on especially third down. I would tell Steve Belichick, if he stays, I'd let him. Mayo would be the head coach for the rest of the year. Steve Belichick, you want to stay? Your dad's gone. You want to stay? No? Okay, goodbye. We'll figure something out. You want to stay? I would tell whoever the defensive coordinator is, all man coverage the rest of the year. I don't care if the other team knows it. I want to see who can cover as far as the cornerbacks and safety go. Nothing but man coverage. All right? And go from there. Get a nice crappy record. Get that number one pick. Get a quarterback in here. We get a lot of cap space next year. Build around that kid. And, And
Who's your
like you said,
coach?
Matt, the guy I want to bring in next year is the offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. What he's
Really?
doing with that racket, absolutely.
We were
He's
both
working
thinking that.
wonders with Jared Goff. Absolutely. He's the guy I want. Make him the next head coach. I know Mayo's been promised it. I know he has. Terrible. Kraft, give him a bag of money for lying to him, I guess. And that is about it. And that's what I would do.
Wow. Great minds think alike. Holy smokes. Yeah. I'm really high on Ben Johnson. So that's and I think you alluded to it in the start that you would just fire Belichick today. So you don't care what the record is at the end of the season.
No
You want him
record.
gone.
No record.
No record.
Yeah.
All
I want
right.
that number one pick in that kid everyone's talking about. I think it's
Caleb Williams. Drake May is also really good too. So
yeah, there you go. So if we don't beat out Carolina for the worst record, we'll take the second guy.
yeah, and I mean Carolina's not going to take. Well, yeah, it would be the Bears. But yeah, in any case, this might have become an NCAA football podcast at some point if the draft comes close in the summer when we're talking about who we should pick. So yeah, that's where we would take the Patriots. Close the book on that until the 90, 50, 10. And we will go on to the next segment, which my dad has kind of described a little bit. So Dad, do you want to give him a quick brief summary again of what we're about to do?
Yeah, like I said, we're just going to draft the top 6 teams from each player where we would take them. So there's 18 total players. First guy picked that, if he's on the 2018 gets 18 points. If the second guy picked for us is on the 2023 team, that team gets 17 points, and then we totaled it up, see who is the most talented team, and we're going to go over each player. Matt, we got to keep it quick little synopsis on each player.
Yep.
Can't go long. So, all right, who is your number one pick?
My number one pick is Posey. So 2008 gets 1 point from me.
All right, very good. And so we're going to do it backwards too to lead up to the suspense, obviously. And so my number one pick also is James Posey.
There we go.
Not much needed there. Here we go.
All right. My number 2 goes to 1986, Danny Ainge.
Okay.
What do you got?
Danny Ainge. Yeah. Number 2 for me is Kendrick Perkins. Love the guy. Basically, he did pretty good lane presence, shot blocker, decent rebounder, and could not do anything else. Could not pass, could not score, anything like that.
Number 3 was Perkins. You just gave a synopsis on him. So my number 3 is Perkins. So that's 3 points to 2008.
Very good. All right. So my number 3 is Bill Walton. Guy was a legend, but man, when we got him, he was old. He definitely flashed in some of those games as a sixth man of the year. And, but at the same time, he kind of ran out of gas a little bit in the playoffs, and, he's just an old guy, know? And remember, we're drafting based on age too, not guys in their prime. That's a whole different conversation. So where they were in their career on this team.
Yeah. And they would play for us for this season, I guess, in my mind. Yeah. So number 4, I have Al Horford. Dad Horford. I feel like, he's a good spot right there. What do you got?
Damn, Al Horford.
Yeah.
Not
much
much needs
to
be said about Al. We all know Al. Absolutely.
Yep. So that's my first points to 2023. Number 5, I got Derek White.
I get Derek White too.
There we go. We go. All right.
I
think we'll probably get some parity, as we go through. Number 6, I have Dennis Johnson.
All right. I have actually Rondo.
Really?
Rondo is nowhere. Yeah, they're very similar players. Very similar. Rondo is nowhere near the defender Dennis Johnson was. DJ was a pretty good defender.
Rondo could literally run. I think Rondo is one of the. I think Rondo has to be a.
He could steal the ball. He wasn't that good.
It doesn't matter. I mean, defense, sure, whatever you want to say, but for me, generationally, I think he's probably the best court general ever. Like in my generation.
Wow.
I know Chris Paul's good, but you put Rondo on any team and he just runs the floor. So I won't. I digress. So number 6 for me was Johnson. 6 for you, Rondo. 7 for me is Walton. I really didn't even know where to put him. So I put 7. I didn't want to undervalue him, so I put him 7.
Yeah.
What's your 7?
The old people are going to be pissed at me. You know, I remember him. He would have these flashy plays, like bringing back some old brilliance, and we'd go insane. But you know, he wasn't. If I'm drafting a team, he's towards the bottom. But my next pick was Dennis Johnson, right after Rondo.
7. All right, so my number 8 was Drew Holiday. Current state, you know, I think that lands him pretty good. What about you?
I go with Ray Allen.
Wow, really?
Again, old sharpshooter, but old, and he was a little streaky. He had some. In the playoffs in 2008, he had one game that he single-handedly won against the Lakers. That was amazing. It was an amazing comeback. And then he had some that he almost lost because he just couldn't hit anything. So he was pretty streaky. He wasn't a great defender ever in his career. So that, you know, he was older at that point. So I have Ray Allen next.
All right. Next up, I have Rondo at 9. I think quite highly of Rondo. Rondo's 9.
Yeah. Well, you touched on him earlier. 9, I have Holiday. Okay. Holiday is older, but man, he has not slid off. He really hasn't. He's still, you know, he's still a tenacious defender. He could still score, and, you know, it's got a 3-point game, and, you know, still passing. I'm telling you, Celtics going to love that man. You'll see.
Yep. Number 10, I have Robert Parrish, the Chief, right? That was his nickname.
The Chief. That's what I have.
Yeah, number 10.
Yeah,
I think that's a good spot.
Wicked smart, because you're actually smart, and I'm like matching up with you. So your man feels pretty good.
I think, yeah. So this is where I think it's going to get a little weird. So my number 11 is Porzingis.
Porzingis? I have Porzingis too.
Oh, man.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. This one I know is different because I thought much higher of him than my dad. And I think a lot of my memories are probably just highlight reels. So that's why I thought so highly of him. But Ray Allen is my number 12.
Okay. Again, he could single-handedly win you a game. When he was on, I mean,
he's the second best shooter ever, right? I mean,
I feel like the only one that's better is Steph Curry. I feel like he was better than Reggie Miller. Steph Curry is the only 3-point shooter that I've ever seen that's better. So
he went on to win two more. He went on to win 2 champions this year. You know, if you count 2008 and then this. So yeah. What do you got for 12?
Yeah. So 12, I have Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown is there for me. You know, the handle is still a concern. It looked like he did nothing but work on that in the offseason. And as awesome as he can be, he also shows you that, man, he can kill you. He can absolutely kill you with those turnovers, you know. So, so that's a big part of it.
So that's my 13 is Jaylen Brown. 13. What's yours?
Okay. 13, the P square, Paul Pierce.
Really?
As a gamer.
Disrespectful to my childhood.
He was older, but, you know, Paul Pierce. That's where he falls for the remaining players. Absolutely.
Wow, what a joke! This whole thing's a joke. All right, number 14.
Sucks to be wrong, Matt. Sucks to be wrong.
You're so wrong. Number 14, Kevin McHale. Kevin McHale, 14.
That's who I got.
All right.
Kevin McHale, greatest low post moves in the history of the game. That man score on double teams in a low post like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, I think it'd be amazing in this NBA. 15, like the amount of unskilled big men that teams throw at people every day, like he would just cook them, absolutely cook them.
Yep.
Number 15, I have Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce.
All right, 15 Pierce. 15 for me is Kevin Garnett. The only reason why he's there, his age. If he was in his prime, if he was in his prime,
he's top 2 on the list.
I tell you what, it's blasphemous to say if he's in his prime. I mean, he might go before.
No.
I'm just saying because Bird had him beat in everything, but man, what a difference maker he was defensively. Defensively, that guy on the ball defender, team defender, he changed the entire culture of the Celtics. It wasn't just his leadership. It was the defensive attitude he brought, and he brought it to the whole team and everyone. Even Paul Pierce started playing defense.
Larry Bird made 3 all-defensive NBA teams. I mean, all NBA defense. I don't know. I think the Alzheimer's. Listen. After this podcast, he's going into a home. Everybody, okay? Because now he's dogging Larry Bird's defense. So we'll just move on, okay? Number 16. 16. I have Jason Tatum.
That is where. Oh wait. Am I one behind? I think we were off by one, but yeah, I have. Oh wait, did I miss somebody? One of us is missing somebody. I don't know who, but I have Tatum, and he's my second to last player.
Yep. All right. In 17, I have Garnett, and then 18, I have So you don't have a 17 then, because you're all mixed up.
I had Brown, Pierce, McHale. Oh, McHale. I don't think McHale was after Pierce for me. That's who I missed.
McHale
I'm
was
sorry.
McHale. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, McHale, just really
Yeah.
good defender too. Amazing
We talked about him.
rebounder. Yeah, absolutely. So, so then it was McHale, and then it was Garnett for me. Then Tatum, Tatum, Garnett. I mean, the scoring difference, the youth. He's just more of a game changer offensively. So I did have Tatum ahead of Garnett, and of course, number one is Larry Legend.
Yeah.
Could do it all. Not a great defender though, but good enough defender. I feel like he made those
absolutely high, but okay.
It's
three-time all
you made it.
NBA defense. Yeah, you're just.
That was his name. It was like Derek Jeter winning the Gold Glove every year. He was not the best fielding. It was his name. They got that. But man, rebounding, Stella, passing, unbelievable passing, sharpshooter, killer instinct, just absolutely destroyed you. Biggest smack talker ever. The guy was just absolutely amazing, and God, if he was athletic, holy cow, what he would have been. So Larry Legend, number one. So, all right, we totaled up the points. What do you have? Who is the least talented team, and how many points?
You want to know how crazy this is? I did not do this on purpose. Did not. They all had 57.
Get the hell out of here! You serious?
Totally on accident. I completely bounced it without even trying. I just bounced it.
That is so lame. All right, you're gonna be the tiebreaker. Who's the number one team? You're the tiebreaker.
My number one pick went to 1986, so I guess I'll say 1986.
That is probably the team that would actually win, just because.
Depends on when it's played, right? This is the age-old conversation. Right. When is it played? Because the thing is, it's like you got Parrish and McHale are going to get spread so far, with the with the Celtics, Porzingis playing out deep, so
they wouldn't be able to guard today's Celtics team. At the same time, though, that 86 Celtics team, they'd get 2 points almost every single time down their end of the court, because they would just post up McHale and Parrish, and Bird would be working his mid-range magic, and they just would
Dennis
not
Johnson,
be able to stop those guys.
Full disclosure, I've only watched highlights, old documentaries. Dennis Johnson is one of the greatest mid-range shooters I've ever seen in my entire life, and it's so odd, right? But everyone's taking mid-range. Yeah. Dennis Johnson was money. So yeah. Any so what was yours?
Mine's. So I had 49 points, and last I had the 2008 team, which is kind of unfortunate. We only went with 6 players because they had some depth after the 6 players, like Eddie House and PJ Brown, Sam Cassell. So they had some decent players after that, but we only went up to top 6 on these teams. So 2008 was the third team. And the second team I have is, God, this kills me from my childhood, but I have 1986 as the second team. And here we go. First team, 2003 with 63 points. They're so loaded with talent in the top 4. It's just, we're comparing Porzingis to like Parrish. I love the Chief. Sneaky, gets you 17 points every game, 10 rebounds every game, block a shot and a half, and was a defensive presence. But when you're talking about Porzingis, he can do all that and get you, 5 to 10 more points, and
open up for others because he spaces the floor so well. I mean, I don't know if anybody watched the preseason game, this last one, but he catches the ball 5 feet from center court, and he just pushes it, and it just flies, line drive, hits and just goes right in. And we're going to see that all season, because that's what Porzingis does. So,
and if you think about the 4th player on each team, right? each one of these teams have a major big three, really good big three, but there's such a disparity between the fourth guy.
Yep.
I feel like Drew Holiday is just way better than the fourth guy of any of those other teams. And that's a big difference, and then,
Yep.
Derek White is no slouch either. No. And, Horford, I mean, you're talking about Horford is the worst guy out of those, and then you get down to the sixth guy of the other teams. You're talking about Posey, and a very old and banged up Bill Walton or Danny Ainge, like you felt Danny Ainge was, so,
Yeah.
1 through 6, God, it kills me to say that because, man, I love that 86 team, but talent-wise, 2023, would they beat those other teams? I mean, probably not because of the old veteran presence and the savviness of those teams. I don't know, but talent-wise, it's this year's Celtics.
Nice. All right. So now we're going to move on to number 3. So these segments will get shorter and shorter. I know we kind of front loaded our long ones.
And listen, we give you the time too, so you can skip ahead. Hey, if you don't feel like listening to one of the segments, skip ahead to the next one.
Yeah, consume what you want to consume here. We're just gonna try and hit on a bunch of things. This is the Boston Sports Podcast, as we say, and we are truly fans of these 3 teams, and we're kind of fans of the Red Sox too, but not super crazy.
They've been showing us for years.
Yeah. So our outlook on the upcoming Bruins season. Real quick, I'll touch on my friends Drew and Autumn. They sometimes tune into the podcast. They shared with me that at a minimum, they believe we should make the playoffs. It'll be a train wreck of a season if we don't make the playoffs. They'll be disappointed if we lose round 1 again, and anything after round 1 is candy. That's Andrew Bailey, Autumn Mungeon, my two friends. And taking off what they just said, everyone's like, oh, we're going to make the playoffs this season. I don't even know if we're going to make the playoffs. I don't know if we control I should have checked this, but I'm not too sure if we control our first round pick next season. Do we control the first round pick coming up?
I don't think we do. I think we gave them all away. I mean, as much as I couldn't stand Don Sweeney, his trade deadline last year, I loved because I was all about going all in because I thought that team was going to do it. I don't blame him. I mean, he did exactly what I would have done last year because we were a wagon, and then we add, Olov and Bertuzzi and Hathaway, and and then we just choke it down. I don't put that on Sweeney. We traded just about every pick. So
my expectation for the season is that we're a middling team and we might squeak into the playoffs and get blown out in round 1. I think that's kind of where we're at. First season without Bergeron. I think we're missing a lot of scoring. I think that we had a lot of depth last season. We still got killed by injuries. I think it's still going to hit us this year. I'm hoping that we're a fun team that gives the opportunities. I'd rather us lose and not make the playoffs, but have a better idea of what we have in our system next year than take these veterans, run them into the ground, and blackball a bunch of our young guys. So that's kind of my hope for the season. I think that it's not going to be a great season. I think we're really going to feel what we did at the trade deadline last year. So what about you, Dad?
I think they're too good to miss the playoffs. I think they're going to be in the middle of the pack. I really want them to trade one of these goalies. Trade one of the goalies. Do your best to bring in a first-line center or a second-line center. Give that kid
dreaming.
Listen, I know. I don't know what else you could put together. But, I don't know what else you could put together. I know the cupboard's bare as far as trade assets go. But what was his name? That kid last night, the center?
Poitras, right?
Looked really good. Poitras, I like him. Put him on the second damn line. Give him some talented wingers. See what he has. I want Lysol up here at some point. Like, screw these geeky. Who is this geeky guy that was playing last night? Give me a damn break. Get him out of here. Get some of these young guys up here. Get them some NHL experience because that's going to be the problem. Scoring's going to be a problem. Chicago is a terrible team. They get terrible goaltending, and they have terrible defense. They're a young team. And the Bruins scored 2 goals last night. Don't count the empty netter. They scored 2 goals against this team. They're going to have trouble scoring goals. Their defense and their goaltending's good. It's going to get them in the playoffs as a 5, 6, 7, 8 seed. But trade one of those damn goalies. Try to get at least a second line center in there. Hopefully this new kid in a couple of years becomes the number 1 center. I liked what I saw last night. Man, his hockey instincts for a 19-year-old were awesome. I love what I saw from that kid. So, it's not complete doom and gloom for me, but man, don't stop now, Sweeney. You gotta make some more things happen. You got 2 number 1 goalies, 2 top 5 goalies in the league. Get rid of one of them to a team who has a lot of scoring, a lot of young scoring, but has no goaltending. Edmonton, something like that. Get somebody in here.
Now, I'm curious, would you rather them do whatever it takes to win as much as they can this year or sacrifice wins to get people like Lysel in there and their farm system?
Yeah, absolutely. You get it. And that other kid, that defenseman who was on the verge of making the team, Lowry, whatever his name, get him up here. Get him in here. Like, get these damn kids some experience. So when the playoffs come, they're ready, and see what we have. Maybe they turn into trade assets so we can start rebuilding with some, good veterans on the offseason. I don't know. So
yep.
I don't want to see these guys that I've never even heard of that are just like scrubs, man, that you can pick up anywhere. Like, get them out of here.
I think this is the season to get a better idea of what we have. And then, with that, we'll know how much we should go into next season and how aggressive we should be, because we know that Fabian Lysel is going to be a top 2 center. We know the Beecher kid's going to be a real deal, that the Lowry, is going to be a contributing defender. So I'm down to lose a bunch this year and get a better idea of what we have. That's what I want. So next up, number 4. I did the math right. Yes, number 4. So bets of the week. My dad touched on this. I hope somebody out there made some money last week off of our Wilgs basement bets, and he
lost 2 in a row, but man, he's been on fire.
Yeah. Yep.
Fire. 5 out of 6. Yep.
Yep. And he gave me 4 this week. He sent me 3 last week. He didn't tell me what his lock is. He ended up telling me his lock after I edited the podcast. It ended up being the 49ers over the Cowboys. But I went ahead and posted all 3, and he's riding that high, and he sent me 4 this week. So the 4 that you will see on your screen, first off, it's the lock of the week. It's the Titans +4 versus the Ravens. So the Titans are going to Baltimore. They are getting 4 points. And he has the Titans in that game. He thinks he's confident there. And I do like that. The Ravens have been pooping their pants the last few weeks. They haven't been able to score.
They haven't been as good. They haven't been as good as I thought they'd be.
Yep. And the Titans play really hard. And I think their kind of football travels well, the running and the defense. Their next pick is the 49ers -5.5 at the Browns. He thinks the 49ers are going to go in there, give 5.5, and take the win against the Browns team. I heard PJ Walker is the starting quarterback for the Browns this week.
And then, and the 49ers have Matthew MacArthur Purdy at quarterback. Complete bum, but he's got an all-star team around him with offensive line that gives him an hour to throw and guys that get open all over the field. Next thing you know, he's getting Tom Brady comparisons. Get the hell out of here with that crap.
Fort Knox, he's throwing from Fort Knox pocket. The other play he has is the Falcons -2.5 visiting the Commanders. He's obviously not high on the Commanders. Think the Falcons are going to go in there and take the win. He's riding the Ritter hype train. Ritter had, I think, his best week of the season last week. I think Ritter's going to translate that next week against the Commanders. And then he has the Chargers +3 versus hosting the Cowboys. Oh, and the Falcons are hosting the Commanders. My bad. I misspoke there. The Chargers hosting the Cowboys. I was listening to Bill Simmons' podcast, and they talked about the Cowboys being the good bad team, and the Chargers being the good bad team of their respective divisions, right? The AFC or the conferences, AFC and NFC. So this is the battle of the good bad teams. He's picking the Chargers. He's picking the Chargers over the Cowboys. The Cowboys are going to go in there. It's going to be a home game in LA because LA has no fans, but for some reason it has 2 teams. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So
I like that take. Yeah, they both talented losers from each conference. I like that.
yeah, any thoughts on those bets, Dad?
I mean, they make sense for certain reasons. I'm not a betting man. I just think it's insanely hard to bet in the NFL because any team could win on any day. It's not like it was back in the 80s when like a crap team had 0 chance of going into San Fran or Dallas back then and winning. Like, it's just not that way anymore. So, no, but they make sense for a lot of different reasons, yeah.
And I misspoke. The Titans are hosting the Ravens. Titans are hosting. Ravens have to go to Tennessee. I mixed up the verses. So that's our bets of the week. All right. Next up is number 5. This is our 90-50-10. Back to the Patriots. Oh, man, they suck. They suck so bad. And it pisses me off that we have nothing to talk about with them. And they have ruined Sundays for myself. I know they ruined Sundays for my dad. What
our views have gone down. Our views have steadily gone down because everyone's just
Patriots.
like,
yeah, nobody wants to. And I have a 6-year-old boy who's on the cusp of really leaning into his fandom, and the team can't score. They can't score, and it's so enraging. We are a complete dumpster fire. But here we are, 90-50-10. Next week we're doing Celtics. My boy's excited about the Celtics. I'm excited about the Celtics. Last 90-50-10 for the Patriots probably for a little bit. Maybe we'll do it. We'll see next week. But 90 for this week is Mac Jones will be sacked 3 times. That's my 90.
All right. Let's see. 90 for me is Jimmy G gets over 300 yards.
Oh, wow. Jimmy G.
Yeah.
What about
lighten him up?
I wonder if Jacoby Myers is going to make. I totally forgot about Jacoby. I wonder if he's going to make a appearance in my dad's 50-10. So my 50 is Garoppolo is going to go throw 2 interceptions. I'm not super high on Garoppolo. I think that Belichick's going to make it a point to prove something this game, and I think we're going to get 2 interceptions off Garoppolo. I don't know if Jack Jones is back, but I know Jonathan Jones is back in. So.
I don't even think he's been at practice, so no Jack Jones still. My 50% is Thornton makes it through the whole game. Tyquan Thornton.
It's hard to get injured on the bench.
Does he make it through the whole game? I don't know. We'll see.
I wonder how many. I know it's not related, but what's your over/under on snaps? I'll say 20 snaps. Over or under?
Well, he has speed, and Belichick hates wide receivers with speed. So I'd say he gets maybe under 14 snaps. Yeah.
Okay, under the 20. All right. I think it's going to be under 2. I think Belichick's my 10 is the Patriots are going to score 35 points because why not?
Yeah.
What do you got?
Again, this isn't 90-51, Matt. Okay, it's 90-50-10. 10% chance Jones gets benched again. The only reason why it's that low is because, I just feel like, Belichick just wants to do what everyone hates, right? He benched Jones last year when, the Zappy thing, and then he went back to Jones. And it's like now the people want him benched and he doesn't, he still is insistent on starting him every game. And he's only benching him when it gets so bad, because poor Mac, he's just completely damaged goods, seeing goes. And so I think he does everything he can to make sure that Mac Jones gets through this game. So I'm getting a 10% chance that he gets benched for a 3rd game in a row.
All right. And, I will say, I told my dad before the podcast, I think my 90 should be that the Patriots are going to find a way to disappoint me, find a new way to disappoint me. And I think I should have put that there because I have this weird feeling we're going to win this game. And you know what that would do? That would disappoint me. I want us to lose every game going forward. We're going to find ways to do the Jets. We're going to Jets ourselves. Last year, I think it was the Jets. Jets beat us, and it did nothing for them except hurt their draft position, which resulted in them not being able to draft the left tackle that they wanted, which resulted in them having to sign a different left tackle who blew the block that blew out Aaron Rodgers' Achilles. So we're going to find a way to protect ourselves. What's that?
And the Jets had a terrible win in the year they drafted Wilson. If they had lost that one game, they would have Trevor Lawrence right now. They had that one typical Jets. They had that stupid win at the end of the game. Typical Jets faction. You idiots. You morons. Oh, God, Matt. I hope you are absolutely. I hope you are not onto something there. And the Patriots pull off a freaking win.
We're gonna be the Jets. We can't get it. So that's the podcast. Ended on a note. My dad and I have a therapist appointment after this. I hope everybody enjoyed the mixing up. We want to hear from you. If you got to this point, please send us your insight. We'll put you on here. Possibly a video, and we'll let everybody know what you think about some of our segments and your thoughts, because we're just you.
Put your 90, 50, 10 for the Celtics in their upcoming season in the Facebook comments when we share it, or in the YouTube comments, and we'll put on the next one. And remember, share it on Facebook. You guys get up to 25, I'll put your name in the drawing, and someone will get a free $50 gift card. 25 shares.
Yep. All right. That's it. I hope everybody has a good night. Dad, anything you got to say?
Pass the old Bulls bedtime. Night, everyone.